Thank you very much, Senator Reynolds, and thank you for letting us know about all those details. I just first want to understand what automation means and what it means for warnings and forecasts. You might be aware that during the 2011 floods in Brisbane and the Darling Downs, the Bureau had a flood station which was automated, and it received warnings of a higher flood level during that event. Indeed, the flood warnings were coming back at higher than the 1974 flood level, and apparently at the time the Bureau, when it says here in the Commission of Audit report that the Queensland Government commissioned after the floods, that the Bureau contends that those readings had been received had the characteristics of a faulty station because they were so high. Went on to say that the staff of the Bureau's Flood Warning Centre did not become aware of the readings until 4 to 4:30. Initially the readings had come in at 3 p.m. They took steps to verify them. As a result, the Bureau had issued a flash flood warning for Lockyer Creek at 5 p.m. on the 10th of January. By that time, of course, the flood peak had already passed through Grantham. A number of people died, and the warning advised a very fast and dangerous rise as possible downstream at Gatton. The Commission concluded on this section that automated systems are extremely useful, but their existence should not lead to disregard of the value of human observation and local knowledge. What has the Bureau done in response to that Commission of Audit report and its findings in regards to automation and its risks?
Thank you, Senator. Well, first of all, that was not a Bureau station. The Bureau is not responsible for monitoring flood levels around the country. That was an installation either of a local council or the state government, I can't remember which, so it wasn't our job to monitor that station at all. Our flood service is focused on downstream locations with lead times of greater than 6 hours. So we have no involvement at all in flash flood monitoring or forecasting. That is the duty of councils and state governments around Australia.
Notwithstanding, you did issue a flash flood warning for that event.
Yes, we do.
But you said you have no responsibility for it. Why did you issue
that is based on our knowledge of the rainfall that's in the area, and when the rainfall is particularly acute, we will issue a flash flood warning.
Now,
but that is different. That is different from issuing a flood warning based on observations which are made at a river gauging station. So you need to understand that difference.
The Queensland Government Commission of Flood Inquiry recommended that the Bureau of Meteorology should expand its volunteer rainfall and river height networks to incorporate residents of the Lockyer Valley. I won't read all the rest of it there, but what did you do in response to that recommendation?
We have sought to do that, in fact. We're working on a number of fronts. We have put out a call to expand our storm spotters network, people in the community that we can work with to alert us to additional information that might help in the diagnosis of extreme weather. We have implemented the weather observations on the website now, which allows the community to plug in their automatic weather stations into that. Since the events, of course, there has been an intergovernmental discussion around shoring up the flood arrangements in the country through, as a recommendation of the Munro Review that you may be familiar with. And one of those, in fact, was to enable the Bureau to help state governments establish new flash flood warning networks. So the government has made a provision for us to provide some expert advice on how to set those networks up. So there's been considerable activity which I think has improved the situational awareness posture of the community for flash flooding, though the Bureau's responsibilities remain unchanged. That is not the province of the Bureau's work.
So given that obviously you accept and this Commission accepted the need for boots on the ground, if you like, for eyeballs to look at these issues in case of floods, is it your view that taking these human resources out of these locations does have risks?
Very, very low, and I think the benefits far outweigh them.
But there are risks that there'll be less local knowledge or things missed in the automated process?
No, I don't think so. No,
There's no risks at all? No,
I'm not saying there are no risks. What I'm saying is that I think there's far more upside by virtue of the fact that we'll be making more measurements. We'll get more measurements. Now, I think the point you're alluding to is that automated equipment is not infallible. It is subject to failure, and we have to accept that. But the art form for us is to have a large enough and broad enough network such that an isolated failure will not bring the whole system down.
So
the
in terms
broader
of,
our network
can I just, because I have limited time, in terms of, and the chair's reminding me of that, in terms of, in this consolidation process, what are you doing to mitigate those risks that pulling these human beings out will rely more on computers and robots?
Putting the best possible monitoring equipment in place, gaining access to third-party monitoring networks that we can use as failovers in the event. The final thing I want to point out,
can I then on notice, could you provide what failover and third-party networks you would be relying on in Queensland?
Yes, we could do that.
I manage Queensland. If other senators want to expand that, they're welcome to. But in Queensland, particularly interested. And just my final question is: you mentioned that over time you'll be looking to consolidate the resources out of Rockhampton and Townsville, I think, as well. Where will those people go? Because you are relocating people, is my understanding, or offering relocation.
Yeah, the individuals concerned, in some cases, it depends on the nature of their employment. Basically, they'll go mostly to Brisbane or to Cairns, depending on their choice. We'll be working with the individuals to locate them to where it fits them best over a period of time. Certainly with the Townsville and Rockhampton staff, we've got up to 5 years to move them.
Will you have any people left in Rockhampton after this?
In Rockhampton,
because I'm
no.
not sure.
No.
You'll have no one at all.
There'll be no one on the ground
No one
there,
on the
but
ground
the equipment
between
will be monitored.
Brisbane and Cairns.
Yeah, but the equipment
Right.
will be monitored
How
and
many
people can get there.
How many people across the bureau have you got in this area, forecasting and monitoring?
There are 49 that are being moved as a consequence of this.
How many in total in this division?
Total observing staff, I don't have the exact number in my head, sorry. It's of the order of 200, but we can...
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We've still got another two senators who've got questions on the same